You're listening to the Scarf Bagara War, part of the Talksport Fan Network, and charity partners with Mentel, for county fans, by county fans.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to yet another Courtyard Club Call with me, Jimmy Harmer. We are now on episode 22, and we are covering the 3-0 away victory against Burton, which happened yesterday. And I am joined by Dan Culverwell, as always. Hi, Dan.
Good evening.
And we're also joined by Steve Bardsley yet again. So thank you, Steve, for joining us today. Again, another win.
Yeah, it's a bit of a habit now. Two weeks in a row, 2 wins. Can't complain.
It's what Dave talks about. It's momentum.
Yeah,
that's what we got with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Okay, so Dan, do you want to take us through the starting 11, mate?
Yeah, I think no surprise to anybody really that it was the same starting 11 as from the week before. We sort of half expected Toure and Camps to sort of get put on the bench, and hopefully, as they did, get a little bit of feature. But yeah, starting at the back, also thought Mob had a little different on the variation of the formation, more of a Christmas tree, with Hinchliffe obviously at the back as your base of that tree. A back three of Ethan Pye, Horsfall and Callum Connolly again, with 4 in front of them, made up of Rydell, Bate, Norwood and Macca. I say Fort Mob had a little bit of variation. They had then 2 in front of them with Barry and Collar, with Wharton as your star at the top of the Christmas tree. So yeah, where obviously last week it was more Collar and Barry you'd say were more pushed up, and it was more of a 3-4-3. Well, I think Dave Challinor does like to have 4 lines of a playing style. So yeah, I think it was more true to this, which was more like say a 3-4-2-1.
Any surprises for you, Steve?
No, it's quite nice and easy 11 out of 11 on FanHub. Not shocked at all. I think the only bit you couldn't really predict was the bench. That was, if you're trying to pick a bench, it's pretty difficult. You knew Camps would come into the bench. You knew Toure would come into the bench, but then would Diamond be in there, and would Teo be in there potentially? But no, those guys got kind of missed out, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, I rarely do FanHub, to be honest, but I decided to give it a go, and I went unchanged as well. So all good stuff to be back.
So I even managed to
copy Russ, all good stuff.
Yeah. I even managed to get 14 out of 11 with my bonuses as well, with booking bonus and scorer bonus and super sub bonus and stuff. So yeah, it was a good day on FanHub because, like I said, I managed to get 14 out of 11.
I can't believe you used the bonuses.
Yeah, I always do, and I always lose them by getting them wrong as well. So yeah, I was quite happy with my check-in and my that, and I managed to claim a Greg's pasty for tomorrow. So I'm over the moon, to be honest.
So you were there, weren't you, Dan? I must say, from the coverage that I was watching, the away support seemed absolutely spot on yesterday. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know how many was. It was, I would say, a good 1,000 plus of us easily. I don't know what the official numbers were or the attendance was actually. It felt Burton are probably oversold that away terraced a little bit because it felt a little bit cramped in there for terracing. But yeah, just a normal county away day as such. Good loud, lots of songs, drum active all the way through there. No moans or groans. Never got on the players' backs. So yeah, in that aspect, yeah, perfect. No hassles, no troubles. I didn't see any. No flare-ups. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one because it's, Burton was a game that we sort of put a circle around at the beginning of the season that we wanted to go to because, obviously we hadn't been to that ground before. So it was one to tick off the list. We didn't have Harley with us this week, but he brought a couple of other friends with us from Lowestoft. So we had Ethan with us, who'd been a couple of times to County. He came to Crawley and he came to the Wrexham game with us. And then we also brought Joe with us as well. Nearly forgot his name there. Joe, who's not been to a County. He's not been to a football league game before. So he's been to watch Lowestoft Town and non-league football, but he's never been to a football league game. And obviously, so that was his first time watching County as well. So they both enjoyed it. But Burton does have a non-league feel about it, unfortunately, like going to Barnet or places like that. Just that sort of top end of the National League type feel to it. Can't knock it though. All the ground staff were lovely. The stewarding was brilliant. The food was all right. The facilities were all right as such. But yeah, it was just a bit of a and like I say, getting there, it was. I think obviously for County fans, obviously they had a bit of snow coming out of Stockport, so it was a little bit more worse for them. Just really sort of gusty and windy and a bit rainy, swirly, as you'd say. But yeah, no, it was a good day out, a good away day, and like you say, I don't think it'll be an away day that we'll probably do again for many moons. So
it was certainly a good away day from a performance point of view. So Steve, I mean, I think that first half. I don't know if you'll agree with me, but certainly I thought that was the best that we played this season.
Yeah, it was superb. I mean, I think the game opened up for the first 2 minutes. I think Ben was playing kind of passing it to the other keeper, and that kind of went back and two for about 2 minutes where they're just hitting these long balls. And then it was like there was a switch that went off, and they said, right, now we're going to start playing. And then at that point, they just started playing it on the edge of the halfway line and just looking for passes, looking for triangles. And it was just a really superb performance. It was kind of like you knew the goal was going to come. You just didn't know when the goal was come, but it felt inevitable. And I've got to say that's the worst team I've seen this season against us. I thought they were terrible, really, really poor, and didn't threaten at all. Didn't really seem to have anything about them. And if it wasn't for their goalkeeper, it would have been a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, from what I could see, I mean, I think they're a team in transition, aren't they? They've got a caretaker manager in who's done reasonably well in the last sort of 3 or 4 games, I think. But obviously, they've not played a team, and I'm going to say it, as good as us. And we made them look very poor, I think. They didn't seem to have any understanding of when or how to press, from what I could see. They seemed to be caught sort of trying to do a half press and not doing it. Whereas if you look at us, we are starting to click into gear, and it's definitely, to me, it feels like we're starting to see a Dave Challinor side. Obviously, we got rid of a lot of players, key players that got us up last season, and we've made some criticisms of Norwood and some of the players coming in, but you can just see it now, can't you? You can see him and Bate just pulling the strings again. Third game on the trot, I would say that they have absolutely bossed the midfield. You can see it with the wing backs, how good they are now as well. And Kyle Wotton he just continues to play so well. And I was saying to Chloe that when we were watching the game that I think the big difference that we're seeing now, and I'm not sure whether it is, I don't think it's because Adai's been taken out of the team and Ben's been put in, but Ben does seem to kick the ball with a better trajectory. It's a flatter ball. If anyone watches Adai when he kicks it long, and I know we didn't buy him for that, just watch how it basically goes right up in the air, a bit like a pitching wedge, and then drops down. If you watch Ben, the way he kicks the ball, he pings it, so it's a much lower trajectory, which means that Kyle can get his body right in front of that defender, and he can either flick it on, or he can sort of, if it's a bit lower, bring it down. And I think that's one of the biggest changes that I've seen in the last 3 games. This sort of direct, positive play that's coming from Ben.
Yeah. It's I think, like I say, what we said before as well, you're starting to get people, for me, triangles, as daft as it sounds. There's
Yeah.
When whoever's on the ball always seems to now have because we've got proper wing backs have two options. So there's always triangles that can be made, and players like Will Collar, Wotton, or like you say, LOUIE BARRY, Ollie Norwood, Ethan Pye. There's always a triangle to be made. There's always an outlet because of the formation of the team and having proper wing backs that are pushing up. I mean, same again. And it's weird because, like I say, even though we're playing with wing backs, there was times in that game where Maka was actually the furthest player forward because he was so far on the wing and on the touchline, and Rydell and Maka are staying so wide hugging them touch lines that they're actually pushing up. So they're actually on the shoulder of the last defender, regardless if Wotton's come in a little bit and gone a little bit deep. They're still staying on the shoulder of the last defender. So at times they're the last, the furthest player forward, which same again, just like you say, just gives a different dynamic and different way of playing. And like you say, going back to being front foot and aggressive on the ball. And like you say, it just feels like you say players have now settled in, they're acclimatized to everybody. They've all got the message of how we want to play and how Dave Challinor wants to play. And like you say, it's starting to feel like we've got a little bit of momentum here and everything's going well. And we now, the season starts from here type job.
I mean, if we just look at the first half stats, it absolutely highlights the two differences between the teams, and we only we could have scored more than two, I think, but obviously the second goal was super important. So first half stats, so 66% to us, 34% possession to them. XG, we had 1.82, which is bloody good, to be fair, from 8 shots. They had 0.02 from 1 shot, which was like 25 yards out. 5 shots for us on target, none for them. We had 3 big chances, they had none. So we had 300 exactly passes to their 150. That's a nice little sort of round number, isn't it? 300 to 150. 89% accurate passes from us. Now that is Premier League sort of levels. I was looking at the sort of passing accuracies of some of the Premier League games this weekend, and they were at sort of the 87 to 90% mark. I don't think we've been that high. And when you consider how those passes weren't all Pye to Horsfall to Connolly to Horsfall to Pye, they were proper passes, weren't they? And as you said, Steve, in midfield, those triangles with Bate and Norwood and Collar dropping back and Wotton helping and Barry. So that is an unbelievable stat, I think, from that first half, an 89% accurate pass rate to their 77.
Yeah.
Does somebody want to talk us through the LOUIE BARRY goal, or does anyone want to talk about any of the chances that we had before then? Dan, can you remember any chances maybe?
Well, the first half, obviously, the first goal was obviously the Lewis Bate one.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, you are 100%
it's because obviously they're shooting. That's the goal away from the opposite end, from the away end. So
yeah,
that obviously that first goal with Lewis Bate, it was obviously LOUIE BARRY's broke away with the ball from probably about 20 yards from our own goal, and there's obviously a quick counter attack, quick transition, and it looked like from where we were, we thought, is it a penalty? Because it looked like he'd been brought down from behind. Looking at the highlights, I don't think the first challenge might be, but I definitely think he's been clattered to by the second one. It's sort of, and it's a bit of a weird one, really, because you expect them to clear the ball. The keeper looked like he had his hands on the ball. Then he seems to have hit his own defender and dropped the ball, and it couldn't have fallen nicer to Lewis Bate because it's just literally rolled in front of him and he's just tapped it into an empty net. But that we deserved it. I mean, at that point we were huffing and puffing. But we hadn't had that penetration of really, and all the play that we had deserved a goal, which we hadn't got. And I was sort of getting a little bit worried for as good as we looked and as bad as they do, the longer it went on, they had something more to hold on to and fight for. And like I say, luckily that sort of goal came through good hard work, basically.
And there was the LOUIE BARRY chance earlier as well, wasn't there? Early on in the game, I can't remember at what point it was, where he he cut in on the left-hand side, does his usual thing, goes past the player, and he hits it just wide, if I remember rightly.
He did. You're right.
Yeah.
It was about 16 minutes in.
Yeah. I mean, I say the first shot on goal was Rydell after 2 minutes. So, they were on it, like you say. There was a little bit of long ball, goalkeepers saying hello to each other, having a little game of tennis between them, and then, like you say, we sort of got onto it very quickly. And like I say, and then it was literally after, like I say, after them first exchanges between the goalkeepers, it was just complete dominance by us.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody looks on the momentum graph on FOTMob, I mean, you got like tiny little like nipples of yellow, basically, and like it's all blue, absolutely all blue. And you're right, Dan, that you do have to score that goal, don't you? But I did feel after we got that first, obviously LOUIE BARRY then steps up. So Steve, can you remember Barry's first of the afternoon?
Yeah, so this was if I remember rightly, because we were behind the goal watching it. So this was where I think Ben had the ball. He was looking for the short pass either side, and it wasn't on. And he did that thing I talked about last week, where he backs up quickly and punts the long ball forward. I'm pretty sure it kind of dropped just in front of Wootton, and he nodded it down, didn't he? And then just Barry picks it up. Runs at goal, takes one step to the right, takes the defender out, and bangs it in the bottom corner. It's just what he does, isn't it?
But for me, that was without the work of Wootton, that goal wouldn't have happened for me.
It was Ben and Wootton for me.
Yeah,
just superb.
Yeah.
And it's his just calm finish, isn't it? You sort of look at the chance that Tanto had in the last game. Similar sort of position. Maybe LOUIE was slightly further out in the end. Maybe the keeper didn't come out as much, but just that ice running through his veins just to pass it into the goal.
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing.
And then, to be honest, it's weird because, like I say, all the hype and everything, all the talk about LOUIE BARRY, and we might go on a bit more about that later on, but it seems that defences are fearful for him now. They are now backing off. They aren't getting close to him. And I know a lot of Burton fans were going, why aren't we always allowing him to go on his right foot? Why aren't we clever enough to just keep him on his left foot, which he doesn't do anything with? But like I say, he's now getting a reputation where players, the defenders, the opposition are just backing off on him, which is the worst thing you can do, I think, for LOUIE BARRY, is to back off and let him run at you. You have to stand your ground and, defend.
And you saw that on the first goal as well, didn't you? So when he got that first goal, kind of just going back a bit, he picked that ball up on the edge of the area, if I remember right, and he was running, and you could see that last defender running at him and the fear in him, thinking, what do I do? And he's backing off, and it was the worst thing he could do. Yeah. He would have better just taken a yellow card or something. But,
just stand your ground and let him, make some contact as such. But it was the same again. It's a bit hard because I don't want to say that we're a one-man team and, without LOUIE BARRY, we wouldn't have won that game. I think we had plenty of chances throughout that game. Same again, might be a little bit critical for not converting. The amount of chances we got, it's actually, when you look at the stats, it's the same number of chances we had off target and on target than what we did against Bolton.
Mm-hmm.
15 chances, 10 of them on target. Difference is obviously against Bolton, we put 5 of them, 10 on target in the back in there. In this game, we only put 3. But I felt, for me, this was more of a managed game. I felt that we had more gears to go up in throughout the game, and it just always felt that we were a bit held in ourselves back. Once we gone 3-0 up, for sure, we were holding ourselves back a little bit.
I think the positive thing with LOUIE BARRY now, just sort of continuing to talk about him, because he's just in such good, and this is the key, he's in such good form. You can just see that he is like walking on air. He believes that he can, every time he gets the ball, he can beat a man, or he can score, or he can set something up. And I think the difference now is that at the start of the season, it wasn't quite working. He was running into blind alleys maybe as well. But now that he has got Rydell on the outside of him, even though it wasn't one of Rydell's better games, I think we can all say that he had a few mistakes, sort of controlling the ball and stuff. But it's understandable. He's been out for such a long time. But certainly Louis now is bringing so many different facets to his game. It's making defenders think, is he going to pop it through? Is he going to go on his left? Is he going to go on his right? And that indecision that it puts in the mind of a defender is worth so much, isn't it? And I think that's where he is now benefiting. And again, he put another player on his arse, didn't he? Was that the
third goal?
Was it the third goal?
Okay. But like you said, the link-up play between an understanding between him and Rydell is really, really good. When you watch them two, the way that Barry will be starting more centrally, he'll come out to the wing, Rydell will come inside, and then one will go towards the touchline. There is an absolute understanding between them two, and then Ollie Norwood will help pick the ball as well. Ethan Pye will join in. There is watching Rydell and Barry link up is really, really exciting. If you could, for me, I would love to watch training sessions. The way that they can knock the ball about and little tippy tappy pass it around between themselves in training must be fantastic to watch. Because, like you say, you can just see that the link up and the partnership is starting to form with Rydell and Barry, and it's starting to look good. I don't think it's been as effective on the other side with Will Collar and Macca yet, but I think that'll come. I still think, like you say, with Macca's, defensively, I said it last week, defensively, I think he's really, really good, but I still think he's only attacking wise. I think he's only about 70%. He still hasn't got the knack of putting that cross in. I think he probably put 4 or 5 crosses in on Saturday, and 2 of them were spot on, and the others were a bit overhit. Might have been because the wind was a little bit horrible as well. But I think on the Rydell Barry side, I think that has definitely clicked a lot quicker than the other side so far.
Yeah, I thought my only negative was really Macca's crossing yesterday. Nothing to do with his performance, but the balls he was putting in. And to be fair, I didn't think about the wind. So you've made a good point about the wind there. But his crosses seem to be high and long, and just not like he was doing much better last week. Put it that way. But that's just one of those games, isn't it? Like you say, with weather, I suspect he'll be back on it next week anyway.
Yeah. Special mention, I think, for Norwood. He started like really pinging the ball, and the way that he kicks a ball is very similar to Nick Powell, I think. He can sort of play balls with backspin, with side spin. He can clip it. He can do all sorts of different things to make the ball do different things when it hits its target. And you can just tell that he has got that level of skill just when he hits a ball, and it's beautiful to see. It really is.
It's partnerships as well. When you watch him and Bay, they understand now where the other one's going to be. So there's very much, they receive the ball, they're turning and they're laying it off because they trust where the other's going to be. And like I say, it's just, we said it before, understand relationships and partnerships now are really starting to click, and the trust within each other on that team and stuff. But yeah, for me, I think it goes hand in hand. The better that Bate looks, the better that Norwood looks as well. And I think it's just no coincidence that they're both playing the best football we've seen them both play in a county shirt, because they're both helping each other do that.
Yeah, I think as well with Norwood, like you say, I think every game he plays, he gets more used to the division. And when we signed Norwood, I was like, I was pleased we signed him, because you could just tell from the Sheffield United fan comments what a good player he was. But I think as the season goes on, I think we'll all begin to realise just how good he really is. And I think he'll go on a run now, and he'll get better and better and better. And I think any player in that team will struggle to take him out of that team once he's had a good run. And I was watching those passes yesterday where he's pinging them left and right. And I had a look at FOTMOB before, and he's number 2 now in FOTMOB for number of successful passes, long passes over the 90 minutes. And that's something, again, the Sheffield United fans were talking about. They said the way he can ping those balls about, it's just amazing. And he did a few to Maka, and he did a few on the left-hand side. Just ridiculous passes, and the way he does it on the half volley sometimes, just amazing. And that's going to open teams up. It's going to, as this season goes on, it's just going to be such a good thing to have in the armory for us.
Yeah, and especially
it couldn't have been easy in those conditions either, could it? Let's face it. Exactly. I mean, it was windy, it was rainy. That the pitch was really slippery as well. I think one of the most impressive things for me over these last 3 games is that you wouldn't. I mean, like we actually, or I've certainly said on this podcast that we haven't got a ratter, we haven't got someone in there that can really break up the play. But in the last 3 games, I think we've had the opposition have had 2 shots on target in 3 games, which is unbelievable. So it shows that either our shape is doing the job and we're defending well as a team. I'm going for that, actually. I think that's what's doing it. I think it's the shape and just defending really, really well as a team, because you don't feel like the defense is being overrun at any point. You just feel like we're in control of what's going on with the opposition.
Yeah, definitely. I think they say having Rydell and Maka back in the team makes a big difference, but having them literally hugging that sidelines, they're there to get their white paint on their boots as such. That's what they're there for now. Gives, like you say, players like Ollie Norwood an option to quickly switch it and find them as well. But like you say, they're just the only time I think over the last few games that for me, look like we can concede is from set pieces, from a corner or a free kick, or the ball being put into that area and switching off, which is always possible. All the best teams can concede goals that way. But from open play, I just think, like you say, we're working really, really hard now.
Go on then, Steve. Take us through Barry's second goal, 59 minutes.
Oh, it was just incredible, wasn't it? I mean, I think they had possession. I think they came out of their own half with possession, and was it Lewis Bate got a kind of little interception on it? And I think he passed it to Pye, and then Pye put the ball out to LOUIE BARRY. During the game, I didn't realise how far back up the pitch he was, but he was just inside his own half, wasn't he? Yeah. And then he just sprinted down the left, and he just seemed. I watched it with my dad this morning as well. I was showing him the goal, and he just sprinted down the left, and he just left the guy for dead, but then cut back on himself.
Yeah.
Did the thing where he turns inside, the guy puts the guy on the floor, and then just buries it in the top corner again. And I had a perfect view. I was right in the angle of the goal, behind the goal. It was just beautiful to watch.
That's put another million on him, hasn't it? I think.
Yeah. Oh well. If we're the club that's putting $1 million on him, he should stay with us all season, and we'll keep putting millions on him.
But it was a typical, like you say, I wouldn't say typical, but it was a LOUIE BARRY goal. LOUIE BARRY doing LOUIE BARRY things. If you said describe a LOUIE BARRY goal, you say, well, he gets the ball, he runs down the wing, he gets to near the 18-yard box, he's going to cut inside, he's going to fake to shoot once, he'll put the defender on his bum, and then he's going to hit it, and it's going to go in the top corner. And that's exactly what it was. And like I think I've seen a lot of Burton reviews, and they're going, why did you know he's going to do it? Why did you let him do it? But knowing he's going to do it and stopping him doing it are two different things. We've said this about some of the best players that we've watched in a county shirt or on international football. Knowing what a player does and stopping him doing it, is worlds apart.
I think a prime example of that is Arjen Robben for Chelsea. Do you remember him? And he literally had a left foot, and like he could barely do anything with his right. But how many times did he do exactly what LOUIE BARRY does? Cuts it on his left and just pings it in the top corner.
Did you see the comment from LOUIE about Arjen Robben as well?
No,
last week. Yeah, I can't remember which article. I think it was on Twitter or something. But they were asking him something about, are you going to trademark your goals or something like that? He said, I'd love to do that, but I can't because Arjen Robben's already done it.
Did he honestly say that?
Honestly,
I
yeah,
did
I'll
not have a
find it for
clue.
you.
Look at that. Me and Louis, we're like this. We know our football, don't we?
Yeah. No, I'll dig it out and send it over. I'll find it.
Okay.
But yeah,
But he is just like him because he does chop back onto his favourite foot like Arjen Robben did. And he does like score worldies into the top corner like he did.
Yeah. No, and like I say, that's not just what he does, obviously. He does that very, very well. He offers different threats and different outlets. And like I say, his first goal, linking up, obviously, with Wootton, more central, flick on, runs onto it. A couple of touches to get it out of his feet, and then he slides it into the bottom corner. And same again, he could have easily, it was one of them games, he could have easily walked away with an hat-trick. Same again, Dave Challinor's obviously mentioned in his interview that with sort of like the way that he plays and the way he's very sort of like dynamic burst of energies, that the tank runs out quite quickly at the moment with him. And you could see that, I mean, before he came off, he picked up the ball in a similar position and you expected him to sort of run on, do exactly the same thing, but he just looked like he was like the battery, the red light was flashing, low battery type scenario for him, and he came off.
He nearly
quite
scored
quickly.
before that, though, didn't he? He had another chance when he did another. I think he was just inside the area, and it was a cracking shot, and their keeper made a great save.
Yeah, and there was one where I think we had a play, and it sort of come out to him, and he's just put his foot through it, and it's anywhere else. Anywhere else it's going. It's absolutely ripping the back of the net out, and it's unfortunately just gone like a missile straight towards the goalkeeper. It? So
I do think he's benefiting, though. I said this last week, from the fact Rydell's in the team, and beforehand there was always two on him. They were always doubling up on him, and it's not possible to double up on him now. And I think he's finding more space because of that, where they can't double up on him because then Rydell's gone, so they can't do that. And I think he's benefiting from that. And the more games Rydell gets under his belt, the better he will get, and that can only be a good thing for us.
Definitely.
And he's got such good quality as well, Rydell, that it's not the sort of player that you really want to leave with acres of space to cross a ball, is it? So exactly. 100% on that one. Should we just touch on the yellow cards, the flurry of yellow cards that sort of came when we were 3-0 up, and Ben got booked, and Fraser got booked, didn't he? And Dave was absolutely fuming, as you would be.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what he got booked for. We were at the other end, couldn't see it. Like you, Dan, I couldn't see what was going on.
Yeah, I think it was time wasting with him and Ben.
Okay.
Either he was done for time wasting or Ben was done for time wasting, and then maybe Fraser might have had a word with the ref and the ref booked him. But I thought it looked like it was for time wasting from what I could see on the TV.
It was a bit of a weird one because the ref for me had a quiet game, but there was like a 15-minute spell in that second half that he just seemed to lose the plot. He even booked, when LOUIE BARRY scored the third goal, he booked their goalkeeper as well. Because obviously he must have said something, but he sort of went on a bit of a card frenzy for about 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The referee.
Just looking on FOTMob now, actually, Ben didn't get booked. The TV did sort of say that it was him who'd been booked, but it wasn't. So it was Horsfall.
I thought the Wootton booking was a bit harsh, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
I didn't get that. I thought that, he was quite in his right to go for a chance, and I thought their keeper got him booked, to be honest. And
their goalkeeper wanted him off. I think that really that was got the county fans' backs up, because for me that was a 50-50, and the goalkeeper was going, oh no, he's studied him, he's gone to do him, and blah blah blah. And, as we know, that's not Wootton, at all. So their goalkeeper then got a lot of grief, I think, then for the rest of the game off it. But with the Dave Challinor and Fraser Horsfall, the yellow card, obviously he'll miss Birmingham, so that's why that yellow card was such an important thing to happen. I think, like we said, we don't know what's been said at halftime before the game. At halftime, if Dave Challinor's gone, look, no silly yellow cards here, nothing silly at all.
He doesn't even have to say it, Dan. He doesn't even have to say it. I mean, the guy knows he's on 4 yellow cards. He knows we've got Birmingham coming up. Did Fraser get sent off earlier in the season, and then Sam Hughes came in for that one game and did really well?
Yeah, I'm not worried
Didn't
it.
he? Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to be another one of those, isn't it? Sam Hughes is going to have to play. He will play at the centre of the back three. I wouldn't be surprised to see Toure maybe coming in for Rydell just for that game, just to give us a little bit more defensive stability. Could be wrong, but we'll see. I'll predict that on Fan Hub, and we'll see what we get.
Or could you have same again? I don't think you're a million miles wrong, but also could you put Ethan Pye in the middle and put Toure back as left centre back? He's the only other one. Like I say, I think at the moment getting the best out of Barry means that you have to have Rydell on the pitch.
Yeah,
I won't mess with it. I won't mess with it. Just put Sam Hughes in. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Let's go for it. We've just won 3 in the trot against 2 good teams. Let's just do it against Birmingham as well. That would be my view.
What do we think our like physio and doctor teams are doing at the moment? Because we've got hardly any injuries. Do you reckon they're just like twiddling their thumbs and just like playing computer games and stuff? Because we literally have. Literally, apart from Nick Powell and
Noyle
and Mellon, you could maybe say Mingy, but it's probably the lowest number of injuries that we've had in 3 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Camps came back. He got good. I mean, what a beautiful game that is to be able to say, okay, well, Callum Camps, he's been out for a little bit. Dave would be saying before the game, I hope we're 3-0 up with like 20 minutes to go. That'd be great. Just shove Campsy on.
Yeah, but we're all
3-0 up, 20 to go. Camps comes on.
In the away end, we're all going, why didn't you shoot?
I know, I was going to say it.
Yeah.
Why didn't you shoot?
Don't know.
Yeah. I don't know if everybody that was watching it in some foreign land.
Acres of space.
But yeah, we were sort of like, it's like, why didn't you shoot? But yeah, I mean, same again. It's and the same again. In all fairness, as well, he put Camps on and put him on in that Will Collar spot as well, quite far up the pitch, where Camps has sort of been playing more that long side, a Bate or a Norwood in that central midfield. Sometimes he's a defensive midfielder. So yeah, he came on and shows another option attacking wise. It's like you say, it's an exciting time. It just feels that we've got an 11 now that you think actually this is the best 11 we've got available, and the players are all in form. They're all playing well. They're all getting partnerships and linking up really well with the other teammates. So yeah, I think, like you say, you can understand why Challinor is absolutely furious about a silly yellow card that will change that starting 11.
He's got annoyed with him a couple of times, hasn't he, this season? Because he got annoyed yesterday and he was unhappy with the sending off as well.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they have to. I mean, I think Dave's always quite fair in his criticism and stuff like that. He doesn't dig out players for little minute little things, or I think there's an expectation. He lists what, and they have lots of meetings and they go through things, and I can understand, like I say, if it's been a meeting, and there would have been a meeting, it would have been highlighted because of the way they work. Because they have, like I say, meetings before the games and about oppositions and about their own performances and stuff, and it would have been highlighted to them, even though, like you say, they should know you're on 4 yellow cards. The next yellow card you get will mean that you miss this Birmingham game, which is a bit of a shame, really. It doesn't miss the FA Cup game, but he misses the Birmingham game.
I mean, he now plays in that FA Cup game, doesn't he?
Definitely,
100% plays. He probably wouldn't have played.
Yeah.
So,
or do you play Sam Hughes in the game to give him minutes? I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? Yeah, you could play them both. Should we just have a very quick look at the table? So we are now third. Yes, that's third in the table. Teams have got games in hand on us, but as Danny used to say, best to have the points on the board. So yeah, we're just 5 points behind Wickham as it stands. They played 15. Wrexham have played 16. They're on 31. So sorry, Wickham are on 35. Wrexham 31. County, we're on 30. And then Birmingham, Huddersfield, Barnsley, Lincoln. I mean, there's some big teams, aren't there? Let's face it. Birmingham, Huddersfield, Barnsley, Lincoln, Reading, Bolton. Okay, and we're above them all.
Yeah.
That's such a good feeling.
With say 4 wins out the last 5 games.
Yeah.
Apart from Wickham, which, like you say, Wickham haven't lost a game since August. And on a traumatic, really, really good run. But like you say, with the only team apart from Wickham that have won the last 3 games on the trot as well. So, we've said it before, momentum is all with us at the moment. And it lines us up. So with November league games are finished now. So in November, we've played 4 games. Obviously, we've got that 1 loss, which was to Wickham, 4 wins. So we've got 3 wins, 1 loss, 4 games. So it's 9 points. Points per game for just November was 2.25. So for the season, like you say, we've played 17, 30 points on a points per game trajectory. We're on 1.76. We all know that the magic number for promotion is 2 points per game. I think I've said before, to get in the playoffs this season, I think we're going to need 80 points, which is 1.74 points per game. So we're obviously above that, which is quite interesting. That was Dave Challinor's 173 third game, 173 games in charge of County, and that is 96 win out of them games. So he's got a win percentage of 55.5%. He's drawn 39 and lost 37, scoring 318 goals and conceded 164 goals in his time at County. So, I'm happy where we are. Like I say, the trajectory that we've got at the moment, if we carry on playing the way we are and accumulating the points we should finish with about 81, 82 points, which, like you say, should securely. I mean, I've gone for a high playoff marker. I know there's other trajectories out there that have gone for like mid-70s for the playoffs, but I think to get promotion, you're going to need, sort of well over 90 points, 93 points, 92 points, and to just get into the playoffs, it's going to be 80 points, I think, because it's, like you just said, it's such good quality teams there in that sort of top 6-8 teams that are all, some of them are ex-Premier League not many moons ago. So I just think it's going to be a hard one. Obviously, like we said before, the rumour mills now are starting. LOUIE Barry's getting a lot of the spotlight. These
He's going nowhere, Dan. It's fine.
Oh, I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, I've said before, he wants to play for Aston Villa's first team. That is his dream. He's the biggest Aston Villa fan there is. So is all his family. That's what he wants to do. He wants to be scoring them goals that he's been scoring for us in an Aston Villa shirt in the Premier League. And he knows that he has to prove his worth. So moving permanently away from Aston Villa is never going to happen unless they say he's not going to make it there. The best place for him to be at the moment is at County. Yes, playing in the Championship is another higher level and another risk, but there's no guarantee that he could go to a Championship club in January and he might only play 3 or 4 games and only be coming off the bench and not getting the game time that he wants. Why would you? The grass is not greener on the other side. If you're in form and everything's clicking and you have rituals and you have routines, then why would you change it? So like I say, I don't think he's going anywhere. Personally, I don't think Aston Villa would want to sell him because, like you say, why sell him? Because they know that if he goes and plays half a dozen games in the Championship next season and shows his worth, his value doubles straight away. If he can do what he does at this League One in the Championship, or whatever you're quoting, which I've seen like 15 million for him, well, he's a £30 million player straight away if he can do this in the Championship. I mean, obviously, same again on the old rumour mill that's like Simon Wilson's shopping at Iceland at the moment as well. So we'll wait and see if what he comes back with.
I thought that's where mums go.
Well, mums and Simon Wilson alike do their shopping at Iceland. So, yeah, we'll wait and see if what happens. And we're in that time of year, aren't we? We're getting towards January. You know, let's be absolutely honest. I won't be surprised if somebody tries to come in and try and signs LOUIE BARRY in January, the way he's playing, because he looks, as we've said, a Championship quality player. And he could be the one player that we actually really do struggle to keep hold of, if not in January, but definitely next summer, if he keeps on putting the performances in he's doing.
What do you think, Steve? Do you think we'll struggle to keep hold of Lewis?
A long term, maybe. I think it all depends on where we go as a team over the next few years. I can't see anyone coming in for him in January. I think if he, like you say, Dan, if he keeps playing the way he does, he's gonna, there's gonna be a lot of people watching him, and there could be people interested next year. But at the same time, it'll cost a lot. He's on a 3-year contract. It'll cost a lot of money to take him away from us, and he's another guy who is not worked out for other clubs, and he looks like he's enjoying it. He's club captain, so there's many factors here. The same with LOUIE, the same with Ethan as well. Another one who's going to be watched. It's working for them at the moment. They're all improving. They're all getting better. They're getting game time. It's the right club to be right now. But I'm not crazy. I know we can't keep all these guys forever, and so there'll come a point where decisions will need to be made. But I'm not worried short term. I'm not quite sure what will happen with LOUIE BARRY. I think it'll all depend on what Villa's kind of plans are. Do they want him in the team, or are they looking to make some money off him? And I think that's the key thing. If they're looking to make some money, and some club comes in January and says, we'll offer you, I don't know, 5 million with a 30% sell-on clause, Villa might cash in. I'm not sure sending him to a Championship club's the right idea, because his value's increasing all the time at the moment while he's playing for us. Goes to a Championship club, like you say, he's had these, it's not worked out in the past when he's been to other clubs. His value could start going back down, because if he goes to a Championship club and the intention is to sell him and it doesn't work out, then they're not going to sell him, are they? Because the value's going to come down, which could work into our hands if we want to buy him in the future. So,
but I think you have to draw parallels to Jay Stansfield as well at Birmingham. Obviously, he came from Fulham's academy, youth-ish sort of team, and Birmingham paid, 13, 14, 15 million quid for him. And LOUIE BARRY is absolutely ripping up the division, and he isn't. He's doing okay. He's got a few goals, obviously. But if you look at that, and you're Aston Villa, you're thinking, okay, well, we've got a kid who's scored more goals than him, is affecting matches potentially more than him. I've not seen his assists or anything. But just on the LOUIE BARRY thing really quickly, because we're nearly at 50 minutes. I think LOUIE BARRY has got to be enjoying having Oliver Norwood next to him as well.
Yeah,
and that has got to be a massive, massive thing for his own personal development, because although he knows he's the club captain, he has got someone who has done it, seen it, done it, got the T-shirt next to him. And that is worth absolutely so much to him. He's 21 years old at the end of the day. Midfielders in that sort of role can play till they're 33, 34 if they avoid injury. So he doesn't have to rush. I think the LOUIE BARRY sort of player, we've seen it in the past with players picking up injury, these explosive players that can beat their man and leave them on toast and stuff. They have a shorter shelf life. Like, I wouldn't imagine he's still doing it at 33, 34. Potentially changes his game, but that's not the same LOUIE BARRY. Whereas LOUIE BARRY can still be pulling the strings and popping the ball off and all that sort of stuff. So he's got a lot more time. So hopefully we get to keep him. Has anyone got anything else, or shall we wrap this up now? Nearly at 50 minutes. Russ will be sacking me.
I was going to say, but this is all these conversations are the price of success, isn't it? They're being talked about because we're playing good football and we're playing as a team. And the same again, between now and the end of the season, Dave Challinor will be linked with other jobs. We're getting to Christmas and January where it comes to the sacking season, and Dave Challinor will be linked to them. And he's only been linked to them because he's doing a good job. And the same again, players will be linked because they're playing well and they're doing the right things at the right times in games. That's the price of success, and it's you know, it's one of them ones. If they weren't being talked about, then we wouldn't be sat in the top end of the League One division and looking like we're going to get another promotion again.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for joining us once again, Steve. Pleasure to have you on.
Thank you. Enjoyed it as always.
Okay. See you soon. Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Scarf Bagara War. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Remember, you can catch us every week on your favourite podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. And a huge thank you to all of our Patreon members. Your contributions help keep the show running to bring the content you love. If you'd like to support the podcast and get access to exclusive special guest episodes, ad-free podcasts and a monthly giveaway, head over to patreon.com/the Scarf Bagara War. And don't forget to follow us on social media for updates, behind the scenes content and more. You can find us on X, Facebook and Instagram, all at County Podcast. Lastly, if you enjoyed the show, please leave us a review and share it with your fellow county fans. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Scarf Bagara War. Come on, County!